hello. Oh, and welcome to another episode.
Oh.
This is exciting.
I know, nice to see you and nice to catch up.
I know, we're nearly constant. We're consistent at this. This is good. I like it.
Fits my structure.
Ooh.
I love it.
Honey, if we're drinking champagne, it fits my structure.
Always.
So how's it been? You've been all right? Good week?
Busy but good. But I don't mind that because I always prefer it when I feel like I'm like achieving stuff. Even if it's like pressurized or that sort of thing, I don't mind it. I don't mind it.
No, I get you. It's you feel accomplished, don't you? You kind of like,
That's it.
you know, yes, I've had a good week. That's enough now.
But then we need some downtime.
We do. And that's a great segue.
I'm getting good at
Erin. I love it. So one of the things I was really keen for us to talk about, and we've kind of broached on the subject personally anyway, haven't we, about is guilty pleasures and why they're important.
I know, but like, let's like define, like, what's guilty pleasure to you? Like, what does that mean?
Okay, so to me, it's something that is not generally a socially, not accepted, but trendy or
Fine.
thing for either your age or your gender or just generally it's one of those things people are like, oh my God, that's so cheesy.
Fine.
You know,
Okay.
something a bit embarrassing.
Whereas for me, it's like something that you would do when nobody's watching.
Okay, so it's slightly different.
Or something that you don't necessarily want people to know you do because it's like, guilty of doing it.
Yeah, there's a guilt to it, an elbow to it, yeah. I suppose mine's based on assumptions that I make on what society would judge is like a guilty pleasure.
Fine.
Where you're saying it's like, it's something that you...
For me. So what's your guilty pleasure then? Or your like
there's so
top
many.
one or two?
Yeah, I was going to say top 100. So for me, I think, and I'm sure a lot of my friends would agree with this, is that it has to be Disney.
Right, fine. Well, we spoke about this before in terms of, and you feel like it was like cringy.
Yes.
But you still...
I don't give a flying hoot. I really don't. I have no shame about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's something that it gives me joy and I don't care.
So songs or movies then? Is it the songs or is it watching it?
Oh, there's no difference. It's both. It's everything. It's like embracing the whole thing. It's like going to Disneyland. It's going full throttle. Like, you know, I think that's where embracing the joy from the whole holistic Disney like landscape is something I really take pleasure in, and it's something that I'm so grateful that my partner loves it as well, and then Lawrence like really embraces it as well, and thank God Sophia loves it as well. My God, I'd have a problem if she didn't.
Terrible.
I know.
If your daughter didn't like Disney and you were like heavily pushing it on her.
Not cope. I would not cope.
Outside of Disney then, what's another one?
Got to be karaoke. Karaoke, it's got to be, I think, the best top thing that to me is something that a lot of people kind of shy away from. But when they get a few drinks in them, they come and join me with the microphone.
Yeah, well, that's
obviously
me. That's me.
And yes, you're a little dark horse actually, because you've got quite a good voice on you. So I clocked that on New Year.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
You were. I was impressed. But yeah, I think it's just that joy that people get. And there's this whole thing about, I think, people underestimate the impact that dancing, singing can actually do to you mentally, emotionally. Yeah. It can improve your mood. You know, it is just incredible. It's almost like you know how people exercise to get those like endorphins and dopamine.
Euphoric.
Oh,
feeling.
Cheers, Erin.
Yeah,
yes, that's working well.
that just did not come off the tongue.
That's fine. So good. But I would say that it just gives you that vibe of just being like yourself. And when you find those songs that, you know, that moment, I don't know if anybody else does this, I'm hoping everybody does, is that when you close your eyes and you're singing your heart out and you just feel that, you know, chemical burst in your brain.
You'll get lost in that moment. It doesn't matter where you are. You could be in a club, you could be in somebody's living room or on your own in the car. It's that feeling that just comes over you. Like for me, you know, singing at top of my voice in the car.
Is that your room? Is that your vocal room?
Generally, because you always sound better. It's like when you sing in the shower as well, because you've got that sort of like close environment, that echo. So that for me, I would say a little bit of a guilty pleasure, because I am singing and I know it sounds bad, but I don't care necessarily. And it's that same thing with like karaoke or dancing or whatever. It doesn't matter how bad you are, just makes you feel great.
It just makes you feel great. And I feel really like, because I've got a couple of friends, like, you know, when you go to weddings and things and people are like, oh, no. Oh, no. When I'm like, come on the dance floor. And they're like, oh, no. And it's like, why? Why are you scared? Oh, no, I'm not a very good dancer. Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
like, come enjoy yourself. Feel that freedom. Shake it off, as Taylor says. Like, get it out there. Just feel good and, you know, really get that vibe going. And I think it really helps you. You really become like free. I know I said that just a second ago, but it's about being free and being you.
It's like leveling though, isn't it? It's like you get it out there.
In that moment.
You have that, a bit like what like dogs do on an evening. You have like the zoomies. You get like the zoomies, you get it out, and then you feel great.
Yeah.
You absolutely feel great. Yeah. Okay, so I feel like that one's quite like an out there, big one.
Like a common one.
Yeah. What would you say is like maybe like your thing that you do that nobody sees? So maybe my idea of a guilty pleasure.
Okay, that's a really interesting one. Oh, do you know what? No, because I think a lot of people enjoy it. I was going to say maybe through my group of friends, watching the Kardashians might have been one that people might be like, Vix, what are you doing?
Is that guilty pleasure?
I don't know.
It's just like I love, but I love programs like that more because of like the escapism side of it.
That's probably why I watched it. I'm just curious.
Yeah, well, the curiosity thing, because I'm just wondering how these people live their lives.
Yeah.
And then it's the, you know, this is sort of TV that I don't have to engage my brain in.
Yeah.
Similarly to, you know, like Love Island and things like that. You would come home at the end of the day and you could just put it on. You don't necessarily need to be like watching it 100%, but you can keep up with what's going on, which is like very different to when you're watching like a really serious like series that you like look away for a couple of seconds and you've lost the whole plot. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Completely.
I can't deal with that.
No, it's very heavy, isn't it? And you've got to be in the right mind frame, sort of frame of mind to do it. And with these kind of series, it is very much like what you're saying, where I actually look forward to Thursday when we get a new episode every week. And I will sit on the sofa and it'll be when Lawrence isn't here, you know, it'll be my treat is to sit and just watch this program for 40 minutes or an hour, or however long it is, I can't remember. But that's my time. And it's like me and the cat sit just on the sofa.
So it's something you do on your own? Yeah. Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
So for me, like it was always Kardashians or Love Island. And like in years gone by, like we would sort of watch TV on an evening and I'd maybe put that on and Rory would like leave the room because he was like, oh, I just cannot be bothered to watch this. Yeah. Like it's depleting your brain cells there and
rotting your brain.
Yeah, like that sort of thing. And like, it's funny how like the years have gone on. He's now got really into it, probably for the same reason I did. Whereas now he's like advocating for, oh, shall we watch Love Island? Or, oh, I'm a Celeb's about to start. Or, oh, the next series of
So how does that make you feel? Because that was your guilty pleasure.
So now it's actually nice that we have something to do together because strangely, like Rory and I don't share many hobbies. And it's one thing that actually I wish we'd always had is maybe something that we enjoy doing together. Like we both like, you know, keeping fit in our own individual ways. We both like similar things, but in isolation. And that TV thing was mine and he never really got on board with it. And I felt definitely guilty for watching it, like 100%. But now he's onto it. That is, you know, the hour that we have. So it will shift between maybe Love Island, I'm a Celebrity. It might be a little bit of maybe like Bake Off occasionally, or the SAS one, like those sort of programs, we will watch them, but we will watch them on catch up, so we can just, you know, do like 1.5 or 2
like
episodes.
A bit of a binge.
And that is like for us now like quality time. So it's funny how like it's shifted between like 4 or 5 years ago and now. And now, you know, I'm sort of like, you hated this program and now you love it. Like, do you know what I mean, judgy over there? I love that. But it's funny how things change. But that is definitely like a guilty pleasure I think we do together. And he finds it funny, I think, you know, where now he could speak to his friends about like Love Island. It's so funny, like, you know, a late 30s guy chatting to his mates about Love Island.
But isn't that amazing that it's socially acceptable for the men to talk about it? That's brilliant in a way, you know.
But then we're all like looking at the people like talking about them in the same way as, oh, I can't believe they'd do that, or he said this and she said that.
Yeah.
Like, it's that same sort of thing.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, no, I do. So what else? What would you say are yours? Because I think I've kind of covered my plethora.
Okay. So outside of mind-numbing TV, my like guilty pleasure, so bearing in mind I summed it up as something you would do when nobody is watching. So we might be like in the living room watching TV on an evening, we're like, oh, let's get ready to go to bed. Great. I'll like busy myself in the kitchen or the living room for a few minutes and let Rory go upstairs, and then I'll approach a cereal cupboard and take a handful of dry Cheerios and eat them.
Who doesn't like Cheerios? Now, hold on. Now, are these multigrain or honey nut? Because this
multigrain.
They're multigrain.
Yeah, they're still sugary enough for me.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't know if I don't know whether you had them when you were little. They remind me of Start. Did you ever have Start cereal? Oh my God, so good. And the multigrain remind me of them, so I'm very happy with your choice of cereal.
I love a dry shreddy, a dry Cheerio.
I love a dry shreddy.
Honestly, but that to me is a guilty pleasure. So, like, I'm sure I wouldn't get any judgment for having a handful of dry Cheerios when somebody else was in the room, but I purposefully wait until nobody else is there to do it.
Yeah. And maybe part of that is the pleasure, is the secrecy.
That's what I mean, like eating when you maybe shouldn't be eating because it's bedtime. Like, so strange. And I don't know where that's come from, but I think I do that with a lot of things. I'll busy myself until nobody's there, and then I'll quickly do something that I think's naughty.
And would you say the cereal's the favourite, or is there anything else that's your go-to, like, as well as cereal?
So I could definitely go for stuff that's in the kids' snack drawer, but I feel like the cereal is the guilty thing because it's cereal and it's bedtime.
And it's not supposed to be like eaten like that. It's supposed to be in a bowl with some milk. Yeah,
exactly. Or it would be, and we very rarely ever buy like tubs of ice cream because we would usually buy, I don't know, like a mini milk or a Clippo or something like that the children can just have. But if we for any reason had a tub of ice cream, it would be like having a scoop, not in a bowl, off a spoon.
Yeah, just a little spoonful.
Love that. But then any leftover food in the fridge is game to me. So
see that. So what's interesting? You're doing it at night. I do that in the morning.
You do?
Yeah. So at breakfast time, obviously, you know, the average breakfast is what? Cereal, toast, porridge, yogurt, fruit, omelette even. No, Vix will have Chinese leftovers. I will have pizza.
Oh. But that calls me. If we had left something like that in the fridge, I'd be all over it.
That's my breakfast. I'm like, I honestly, when I'm microwaving it, I'm in my head, I'm going, it doesn't matter. I don't care what everybody else says. I just want it. I want this. This is what I'm having.
Well, look, rationalise it, because if you went to an all-inclusive hotel, they'd have all that sort of cuisine at any time of the day, because someone in the world is eating that.
Well, I am happy to agree with that.
Yes, true though. But it was like when I had to make packed lunches for Freddie when he went to Holiday Club. There's me making like ham and cheese bagels or sandwiches or something at like 7 a.m. and I'm eating that.
Oh, no, you see that I would say, I would see that as kind of acceptable. I don't know why that's what my Chinese isn't, but your sandwich is, I'm not sure. But in my head, that's okay.
Well, something about reheated pizza in the morning, whether you've had a drink or not, oh, God, there's something so delicious about it.
And honestly, my thing is like the chow mein from a Chinese in the morning. And also, I'm justifying it because the egg fried rice has got egg in it.
Yeah, protein.
So there's that.
So while we're talking about food then, what is your guilty pleasure food?
So it's really interesting you asked this, because I asked Lawrence this the other day and I just said, what do you think my guilty pleasures are? And he immediately came out with a list of food.
A list. Not even just one, like a list of food.
So what's really funny, and this is something that I don't think a lot of people know, so this is like, you know, breaking news, apart from Lawrence, because he knows and he rolls his eyes every year, because once a year, on my birthday, I treat myself to something special. Now, health-wise, probably not the wisest decision I make every year, but I choose to order from America. I order myself a box of Fruit Loops.
From America.
From America. So I pay the full whack, stupid packaging and, you know, delivery fee, and I get this one box of cereal, and honestly, Google it, guys. So Fruit Loops are very, very well known in the States as well as around the world. They're banned here. Sure. Yeah, they're banned here because of the colourings, because one of the colourings is proven to cause cancer.
Wow.
And I just can't help it. And this one box every year probably takes me about a month and a half, 2 months to go through. It changes colour of certain things.
Because of those
the E numbers and additives and all the rest of the nasty stuff that you shouldn't be having. And I just can't help it, Erin. I really can't.
But that's what makes it. You look forward all year to that.
Yeah. And it honestly, Lawrence rolls his eyes every time he goes, have you ordered them then? I was like, of course I have.
Oh, but I love that. But that's a little bit like me with like a Christmas pudding. I know it's a love it or hate it thing.
I love Christmas pudding.
I love Christmas pudding. I love Christmas pudding. I love Christmas cake. I love mince pies.
Oh, yes.
But I wouldn't eat that any other time of the year, right?
I had one the other day.
Well, actually, I told an absolute blinding lie there, because I had a Christmas pudding left over and I had some guests arrive unexpectedly for a Sunday dinner, and I didn't have a pudding, and I looked in the cupboard and there was a Christmas pudding in
there. Now, there's a very important question that goes with this. What do you have with your Christmas pudding?
Okay, so standardly at Christmas, we would have cream, brandy cream or brandy butter, like mixed up together. I would probably have ice cream, maybe some like fruit, like stewed fruit or something.
Ooh.
But mid-February, when I dished it out, I think I just had some vanilla ice cream.
Some ice cream. So there was no custard featuring in that list. Is that something that your family would not participate? Or is that where the brandy sauce comes in?
So I am the sort of person that would eat cold custard out of the carton.
Oh, girl, I love you.
I love custard. And the more that we are talking, right, so I entered this conversation thinking, I really don't have many guilty pleasures. And now I'm like, I eat cold custard out of the carton. I'm making the kids baked beans, and I will always treat myself to a spoon of cold baked beans out of the tin.
Where have you been all my life, Erin?
So also tinned tomatoes. Whenever I'm making a spag bowl, a spoonful of cold tinned tomatoes. Like, oh my God, I'm a freak.
I feel seen. I honestly feel seen.
I'm an absolute weirdo.
No, you're not. I do the same damn thing.
Okay. Honestly. So Rory will often look at me and be like, what are you doing? Like, that's disgusting. And I'm like, I don't know.
Girl, if there's two of us, there are more people out there, so don't you feel any kind of shame.
I feel better now. So I feel like a lot of my guilty pleasure revolve around food.
Okay.
Then. Don't know why, they just do. But my other guilty pleasure is, okay, so we've spoken about TV, we've spoken about food, is I watch... So you must have heard of like the pimple popper thing, right? I don't watch that necessarily. I feel like I go one step further than Dr. Pimple Popper.
What do you do?
So I'm more of a foot person. So I'm watching.
So we're not on OnlyFans. Let's just make that clear. We're not on OnlyFans.
No, we're not on OnlyFans. However, I will digress a tiny bit. And I was trying to sell some shoes once So I took a picture of my feet in a lovely pair of high heels, popped them on the selling apps, whatever, and I got so many messages from people.
Stop, I didn't.
And there's me, so naive, like answering all these messages. I'm like, oh, great, somebody really wants to buy my shoes. They're like, oh, can you send me another photo? Can you send me this? Can you send me that? And I said to Rory, I was like, I'm getting so many messages about these shoes and they're all asking me for new pictures of my feet in the shoe. And Rory was like, you definitely should set up an OnlyFans.
I was going to say.
OnlyFeet or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was somebody else's guilty pleasure, quite clearly. But for me, it's more about feet. So I'm more like, oh God, it sounds so weird, like people having like ingrown toenails removed, like calluses, any like foot thing.
Yeah, so getting rid of like the hard skin or the cracked heels.
I feel that like really therapeutic.
Oh, so it's quite satisfying.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you, this is going from one to the other, going from feet, do you find things like, you know, the when people clean the outdoor swimming pools and when they clean like roofs and things like that, you know, when they clean it and they like you, or the carpet cleaning, do you find them satisfying or is it just feet?
Are you like in my algorithm? Because I'm definitely giving a total plug to this person now, but the pool guy on TikTok.
Oh, Lawrence is obsessed with the pool guy.
I love that. But
he's a bit of a ledge though, isn't he? He's quite cool.
But I'm not a person that loves watching cleaning videos necessarily. But there is something about somebody hoovering the inside of a swimming pool that gets me. Like, I don't know what it is.
Oh, there's a bit of the sound stuff though.
Yeah,
what is it, ASMR to it as well? And I'm like, this is kind of nice. I'll sit here quite happily.
But that is for me. So on an evening, if I'm scrolling TikTok, is like stuff like the pool guy, the foot people, anybody doing something like really boring, like brushing their hair, like weird stuff like that. What else do I like that pops up? Oh, spreadsheets.
But you and I have this shared love, don't we? We both, and I mean, your spreadsheets, I am in awe. You have a fabulous spreadsheet technique, I have to say.
But I love it. There's something about like, you know, a formula and watching how people just create things. And Rory sometimes says to me, a bit like the Love Island things, like when I sit there and scroll on TikTok, oh, you're blooding your brain. I'm like, no, I'm educating myself. This is work related. I do lots of stuff with spreadsheets or whatever at work. And I'm like, no, I'm literally just teaching myself. I'm bettering myself right now.
Improving.
I know.
You've got a good skill set.
Yeah.
That's CVable, really.
I know, right? Excel Pro. So I think those are definitely my guilty pleasures.
I think it's so important to have them, though. I think a lot of people maybe shy away. Maybe there is a kind of bravery that comes from having them and being maybe outing them as well, I guess. But I think it's so important to have them. I think it gives you something that, you know, is only yours. It's something, I mean, even though, we've kind of discussed that we've got shared ones.
I love that. You know, cold baked beans out the tin.
Yeah.
Got me.
Love that, yeah. Bit of it leftover Tupperware, love it. But I think it's just so important to have them and own them and really, you know, not feel like so guilty that it makes you feel bad. It's like, you know, it's kind of like that secret naughty, like, oh, this is just for me.
Yeah.
And everybody deserves a guilty pleasure.
And it's nice then to be able to like share your guilty pleasure with somebody else, either like how we've just discovered the same or like a partner or whatever. Let me give you a quick fire then in terms of these, like this or that, in terms of guilty pleasures.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so these are probably like very much my own, but interesting to see yours. So cheese or chocolate?
Oh, there's so many layers to that. Cheese, probably.
Okay. So on holiday, all day in the pool or all day on the sun lounger?
Pool.
Okay. Like caffeinated hot drinks or herbal?
Oh, I don't drink caffeine, so herbal.
Herbal, okay. Yeah. Sleeping with your socks on or socks off?
Oh, off. Definitely.
I know, there's something about people that sleep with their socks on. Like, or if I ever do...
suffocated with my socks on.
Well, yes, totally. If I ever sleep with my socks on because it's like absolutely Baltic, they always come off within like the first 30 minutes.
Once you've warmed up, they're off.
Yeah.
That's it. Like you, my feet are solid blocks of ice. okay, fine, I'll put socks on. But oh my God, yeah, I feel like I'm suffocating in bed if I have socks on.
And last one, probably not so much guilty pleasure, but I'm interested to know, eggs in the fridge or out the fridge?
Oh God, this is such a battle. So they started in the fridge, they're out the fridge now.
Oh,
yeah.
Is that a space thing?
That's it. Well, it's a partner thing. So I used to have them in, whereas Lawrence was like, get them out.
Fine.
So he doesn't like onions in the fridge.
Okay.
He doesn't like eggs in the fridge, potatoes in the fridge. So I used to shove it all in.
Yeah, I'm
shove it all
in. So
like, all in.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. Behind a door.
Yep.
Whereas Lawrence is like, no. So I'm like, oh, fine, we'll take them out then. So I've just acclimatized to the Lawrence friend way of life because it's easier on the living, isn't it? Where you compromise with your partner.
And that's the thing. And do you remember when you first found one of Lawrence's guilty pleasures then?
Do you know, I don't know what he's going to kill me if I say this. I'm going to say that. So Lawrence's guilty pleasure is Above Deck. Have you heard of that?
The boat program.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine.
So Lawrence's Netflix, Amazon Prime, they're all top boy, all action, gangster,
boys sort of stuff, yeah.
Action, thrillers, whatever. And I walked in, this is probably a couple of years ago. I walked in and I'm like, what is that? What are you watching? And he literally looked round like a startled
like that cat. Have you ever seen that meme where the cat's like, yeah.
Yeah. He was literally like a startled cat. And he was like, and then he just came clean. He was stunned into silence. And he was like, I really like this.
I love
Below Deck.
Yeah. Or whatever it's
Below Deck. That's probably, yeah. Oh my God. So I have to say, because obviously Lawrence has been poorly lately, we've been sat for the telly a bit more. And I used to go, oh God, I can't watch this. This is dreadful. I can't watch this. This is awful. And I'm like, I'm sat there watching the Kardashians. How do I have the audacity to judge
the judgment between my numbing TV or not?
Yeah.
So that's interesting. You said it's a program as well, because similarly for Rory, he really got into The Greatest Showman. Right, who doesn't love The Greatest Showman?
Who doesn't?
Right, fine, watch it.
Yeah.
I got in the car one time and his phone must have connected, and that Hugh Jackman, Zac Efron song came on, that duo one.
Oh, I love that one.
Absolutely blaring it out. He loves it. Absolutely loves it. And for you obviously know, but we're talking 6'5", big guy.
And he's like a dude. He's quite cool and quite trendy. He's he's a proper dude, isn't he? Yeah.
The Greatest Showman.
I can't wait.
And I've told you before about he also really loves Disney as well, the Disney songs, the Disney movies. So that's quite funny.
So do I need to get Rory a couple of glasses of red wine in him?
Oh yeah.
And then we'll put on a show.
Going for it. Well, actually, and you said about karaoke from the get-go, he's the sort of person that would absolute no karaoke.
Yeah, but then after a couple of
No. He wouldn't.
Rory.
He's an absolute no for karaoke. It would probably make him apprehensive, even thinking that it might.
That's so funny,
happen.
considering he's such a confident person that you'd think that he'd be quite happy.
Yeah.
Doing. Oh, that's so interesting. I love that he liked. And I have to say, just backtracking to the Hugh and Zac Efron song, that choreography in that scene. I'm sorry, if you don't appreciate Zac and Hugh in that, you got something wrong.
I love it, and even for a manly man, you can appreciate that. Yeah. Right?
I mean, Hugh and Zac are on my list, so.
Well, that's another thing. A guilty pleasure. Who is on your list? Which is a guilty pleasure?
Oh, I was meaning my list, as in the list that Lawrence will let me.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, that's what you said.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So who's on your list?
Who's on my list? Patrick Dempsey, Hugh Jackman, Zac Efron.
Okay, they're all fair game.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't you want people to know was on your list, but would still definitely be on your list?
Gary Barlow.
Fine, okay.
I would. Can you imagine him singing to you? I'd just make him sing to me all the time.
Well, that I think is what makes people like really attractive, is those talents.
Yeah. Gary Barlow, honestly, sing me a couple of Take That songs and I'm yours. Honest to God. It was like, did you ever watch Lockdown? You know, when they were doing all the kind of like live, when he was duetting with loads of people.
Yeah.
Oh, Gary. Oh, you got me. Oh, you did. Honestly, some of the songs he was singing.
But that was amazing, actually. And I think so many people like found guilty pleasures in that time, because you have no other choice. Like, how many people did I know that got really into like quizzing or really into like dancing? And I know we've spoken about that before, about getting on the trends and stuff like that. But sometimes you like need to find a gap, which then allows you to find something you really like. And if that's, you know, finding a TV program with your partner that you can suddenly both get in on because, I don't know, you've got an hour here or an hour there, or, you know, like cooking something, or, I don't know, like doing something totally random.
And do you think, from your perspective, and obviously, you know, the fact that, you know, you've been through this with Rory when you know, like the Love Island sort of like journey that you've both been on, stuff like that. Because I know, like when the husband or when the wife or, you know, partners or whatever, like they judge each other and they're like, oh, don't do that. Yeah. Don't read that like romantic novel or whatever. Don't do that. I think that's unfair, because you can roll your eyes and go, oh, geez. But like if you're saying to someone, it's going to make them feel bad, and I don't think that's fair, because like a guilty pleasure is the answer's in the name. It's giving someone joy and pleasure. So it's like, do you think that you and Rory are accepting of your guilty pleasures?
So I think that's really interesting, because I feel like when it was me, for example, or, you know, when I think back to maternity leave, lockdown, he was at home working, and it was, you know, the first time in a long time that we were actually around each other so much. And I did have downtime. Just had a baby, whatever. I was, you know, indulging in, you know, these mind-numbing programs. One, because there was very little else to do, and two, because, you know, I'd longed for this time off. You know, everyone talks about time off with baby or maternity leave, whatever, and all the daytime TV you can watch. So I was watching, like, this morning, Loose Women, and like reveling in it, really, because I'd never had that opportunity to do it before.
Yeah.
And I'm sure his judgment was coming from a good place, because he saw that I could have maybe been doing more. But exactly what you said is like, is it fair to then judge somebody on something that they're taking joy out of just because you don't approve in the moment? I guess. And I think it comes back to, and we'd spoken about it before, about your stepchildren, about like lots of gaming and stuff like that, is, you know, that for some is an escape. You know, as a teenager or a young adult or whatever, it's very acceptable to do that. But the older you get, society deems that as a hobby unacceptable.
Yeah.
But then how is that fair?
It's totally true. I think you're right that there's unfair judgment that comes on certain things, but why? You know, if someone it does not matter. I mean, if they're not hurting anybody else, if it's not impacting anybody negatively, why should it matter? What should it matter if someone chooses to wear a fluffy pink jumper and orange trousers? Like, why should it matter? Because if it brings them joy, let them. Oh, look. Mel Robbins again. I know.
But you're not the only person I've heard like citing that more recently. But it's so true. I think you can relate that, like, just let them phrase to so many things. And you just touched on like, oh, if you want to wear a pink fluffy jumper. I like know so many people that wear like, outrageous is definitely the wrong phrase, but really out there clothes.
Flamboyant.
Yeah, flamboyant. They love it. Like, they look great. Like, I wouldn't necessarily do it, but I can appreciate it.
Yeah, and as long as it's bringing them joy, just because I wouldn't choose to do it doesn't mean it's wrong. It's like, so one of the things we do with the kids as well is that we encourage them, it's totally their choice, but we do encourage them to avoid using the word disgusting.
Oh, okay.
And one of the reasons behind that is that it's a very kind of, it's got quite a negative energy behind it. So it kind of makes someone feel bad. If you say, oh, that's disgusting. Or if you say, oh, that's disgusting, like it you know, it kind of implies something quite negative. So there's quite a kind of permanent sort of feeling behind it. So what, you know, if the boys don't like something, if Sophia doesn't like something, or we don't like something, we try and avoid using the word disgusting. So like, you know, if they've tried something at the meal table, you know, at the dinner table, excuse me, and they don't like it, we try and encourage them to say something, oh, it's not for me, oh, I'm not really keen, rather than going, oh, it's disgusting, because someone might be at that table who actually loves it.
Yes. Oh, my goodness, yes.
And it's not fair for you to say it's disgusting.
Because then it puts that person off that is eating it.
Yeah.
Totally. I've never even thought of that. But as soon as you've said that, it's so relatable.
Yeah. So we try and bring a more rounded approach to using words. Because obviously there are disgraceful things that are happening in the world where the word disgusting might be appropriate, you know. I get that, and I get that the vocabulary that we have in the British sort of English language is incredible, because we have one of the biggest, you know, dictionary vocabs in the world. But there are certain words that I try and help kind of dilute, because I think there is a judgment attached to it that could impact someone. So again, like, it gives the same sentiment if you say, oh, yeah, that's not really for me.
Yeah.
You're saying you don't like it. That's okay. But if you're saying, oh, it's disgusting,
you make somebody else question while they're doing it. And I think that's like really fitting as well, in terms of like how you then describe what somebody else does for fun or for pleasure or for joy, is by, like, if I were to mock you for singing at the top of your voice or dancing around in the kitchen, that then makes you feel bad for doing it. And the fact that it's called a guilty pleasure, maybe that's the wrong turn of phrase.
I actually agree with you on that. And this is where, like, you know, joy should come from wherever you seek that joy from. And it does not matter.
You shouldn't feel guilty for it. Well, maybe I should feel guilty for eating dry Cheerios out of my hands, out of the box.
I will be stood right next to you at that cupboard. The next time I'm round at yours, Erin, I'll be like, come on, let's go to the cupboard.
I know. The children wonder why there's no Cheerios left. Like in the morning, they're like, Mummy, we have Cheerios for breakfast. I'm like, haha, none left. Sorry.
Well, I know what I'm buying you for your birthday next year.
But that's it. Honestly, I think we've like hit the nail on the head off. That whole entire conversation is actually, we shouldn't feel guilty for doing stuff that we like. And if it makes us feel good and it brings us like joy and good energy, then
who cares?
Who cares?
If you're not impacting anybody negatively, it does not matter. Do it.
Yeah.
Just bring yourself joy, make yourself happy, and just have that moment for you, because we all deserve it.
We do.
Don't we?
We all deserve it.
Yeah. So, and anyway, we've got this anyway, so
well,
maybe
we do, maybe we don't. Sometimes we're not really sure. But what I am sure of is we really, really need people to like, subscribe, comment, and tell us what they want us to chat about. I would love to hear what other people are thinking, like what debates they're having in their friendship groups that we can debate, because we're probably thinking about it as well.
I really like that. And we've had some amazing responses on socials and stuff. So we're so grateful for everybody who's listened. And obviously, you know, to get the latest episode, all you have to do is subscribe where you get your podcast.
Yeah, and follow.
Yeah.
Please. Well, on that note.
And look, I've got none left. Oh, we're going to have to open another bottle now.
Little tiny sip for me. Right. Cheers. See ya.